She wakes up at 5:40, before the alarm, because she's been half awake since 4. By 6:15, the coffee's made, the lunches are packed, the calendar for the day is already rehearsed in her head, twice.
At work, she's the one people go to when something's on fire. Calm under pressure, never late, never visit.
If you asked her coworkers to describe her in one word, most of them would say the same thing: together.
If you asked her what it actually feels like to be her, most days, she might tell you the truth, that together is not. It's a performance. And it's exhausting to keep giving.
This is what high-functioning anxiety often looks like from the outside, and almost nothing like what it feels like on the inside.
Over the next few minutes, we're going to look at where this pattern comes from, how it quietly shapes a person's decisions for years without
what it actually costs, and what tends to help, according to what psychologists and researchers who study anxiety have observed. High-functioning anxiety isn't a formal diagnosis you'll find in the DSM. It's a term clinicians and researchers use informally to describe a specific pattern, anxiety that coexists with, and is often. The key word there is coexists. The anxiety doesn't go away because someone is successful. It just gets rerouted. Instead of showing up as visible panic, it shows up as vigilance.
Instead of avoidance, it shows up as over-preparation. Instead of falling apart, it shows up as never, ever stop.
Psychologists who study anxiety often describe it as the mind's alarm system, a system designed to detect threat and prepare the body to respond. In most anxiety presentations, that alarm system misfires loudly enough that it's hard to miss. In high-functioning anxiety, the alarm still fires, constantly, but the person has built an entire operating system around managing it. The fire alarm never stops ringing. It's just been turned into background noise so consistent that even the person living with it. That's what makes it so easy to miss, for coworkers, for family, for friends, and often for the person themselves. The anxiety doesn't go away because someone is successful. It just gets rerouted. Instead of showing up as visible panic, it shows up as vigilance.
Instead of avoidance,
instead of falling apart, it shows up as never, ever stopping. The mind keeps scanning for what could go wrong, what might be missed, and what needs to be controlled before it becomes a problem. From the outside, it can look like discipline. Inside, it can feel like constantly preparing for a disaster that never arrives. The threat never has to actually happen. The nervous system is already preparing for it. And when that preparation becomes automatic, it can start to feel less like a choice and more like the only safe way to live. After years of doing this, the pattern can become almost invisible, even to the person living inside it.
feels like personality, like I'm just this way. And that's part of what makes the pattern so difficult to recognize.
That's why so many people can carry it for years without ever naming it. This pattern rarely appears out of nowhere. Research on anxiety development points to a mix of temperament and environment.
Some people are born with a more reactive nervous system, and life experience shapes how that reactivity gets expressed.
One pathway researchers have described is a child who learns, early, that being good, being helpful, or being impressive is what earns. Maybe love in that household felt conditional, tied to grades, achievement, or simply being easy to manage. Maybe there was chaos or unpredictability at home, and being the responsible one was the only way to feel a sense of control. Maybe there was praise, specifically for being mature beyond your years. And a child, wanting more of that praise, quietly absorbed the lesson. My worth is tied to how. Over time, the lesson doesn't need to be spoken anymore. The child starts carrying it internally. And eventually, what began as a way to feel safe can become a way of life. By adolescence, the pattern can become so familiar that it no longer feels like coping. It simply feels normal. Teachers notice the grades. Parents notice the responsibility. Everyone sees the results. Almost no one sees the cost. And somewhere along the way, the message becomes internal. If I keep working, keep improving, keep anticipating.
By adulthood, the coping mechanism has often become so well practiced, it no longer feels like coping. It feels like identity. I'm just a hard worker. I'm just someone people can count on. I'm just a perfectionist.
The anxiety has been so fully absorbed into personality that pulling the two apart can feel almost impossible. The message can be subtle, be available, be useful, stay ahead, and you'll be valued.
Thanks again for solving that.
And when that behavior gets rewarded often enough, it can stop feeling like pressure. It starts feeling.
Thanks again for solving that.
And when that behavior gets rewarded often enough, it can stop feeling like pressure. It starts feeling. Eventually, the person may stop asking whether they're anxious at all. They just assume this is who they are.
The anxiety can become so invisible
That the person carries it for years without ever giving it a name. And because the strategy works, at least on the surface, there's rarely a dramatic moment that forces someone to question it. There may be promotions, good relationships, a full calendar. From the outside, there is very little evidence that anything is wrong. That's not a contradiction, it's the mechanism. The same behaviors that create the appearance of control can be the behaviors, and that is why the pattern's so difficult to recognize. It doesn't always look like something is wrong. Sometimes, preparation becomes reassurance. Planning becomes protection, and being one step ahead starts to feel less like a choice, and more like. For a few minutes, the anxiety drops. The inbox is clear, the calendar is organized, and that relief teaches the brain. The mind learns. Uncertainty feels dangerous. Preparation creates relief. So prepare again. None of this is a certainty, and it's not the only pathway. Some people develop this pattern in adulthood, shaped by high-pressure work, but developmental psychologists have repeatedly observed a through line. When an environment teaches you that stillness is risky, by adulthood, the coping mechanism has often become so well practiced that it no longer feels like coping. It feels.
I'm just a hard worker. I'm just someone people can count on. I'm just a perfectionist.
The anxiety has been so fully absorbed into personality that pulling the two apart can feel almost impossible.
Pulling the two apart can feel almost impossible. So many carry this for years, even decades, without ever naming it. And here's the uncomfortable part. The pattern has been rewarded your whole life, praised, promoted, complimented. So what would it actually take to notice it's a problem at all? Let's walk through what this actually looks like day to day. Not as a checklist to diagnose yourself with, but as a
Over-preparation. The presentation is rehearsed 4 times, not because 4 times is necessary, but because
research on anxiety and control suggests that over-preparation functions as an attempt to eliminate uncertainty. And
From the outside, this reads as diligence. From the inside, there was never really a choice.
then there's reassurance seeking. The email you've already written gets reread 6 times before you finally press send. The message finally goes. For about 30 seconds, there's relief. Then the phone gets checked again. Did they reply? Did I sound rude? Did I miss something? The question changes, but the underlying search is the same, certainty. Then there's the replay. A conversation that lasted 2 minutes gets analyzed for the next 2 hours. Rumination is still open, still unresolved, still requiring vigilance. And then there's the forecasting. If I say this, they'll think that. If I make this mistake, it'll lead to that. The brain keeps trying to solve problems that haven't happened yet.
Sometimes the body notices first. A tight jaw at the end of the day. Shoulders that never quite drop. Breathing.
And because it's been there for so long, you might not even recognize it as tension anymore, normal.
Even rest can become productive. You finally sit down, and within minutes, your brain... Because when you're used to managing every possible outcome, doing nothing can feel strangely irresponsible. Rest so you keep moving. Another task, another plan, another thing to fix. And for a moment, staying busy gives the nervous system exactly what it wants, control. But control has a catch. The relief doesn't last. So the brain learns the wrong lesson. Do more, check more, prepare more. And that's why the behavior can be so convincing. It works, just not for very long. You check, you prepare, you control. Eventually, you don't even notice you're doing it. The checking happens before the thought does. The preparation starts before anyone. And it doesn't stay in one area of your life. Work, relationships, money, health, tomorrow. The subject changes, and that's the line to watch. Preparation stops when you're ready. Anxiety keeps preparing. Because ready, that's the trap. The goal isn't really perfection. It's trying to reach a feeling of certainty that keeps moving forward. But certainty has a problem. Life doesn't offer it, what tomorrow will bring, or whether everything will go according. So the solution isn't to become better at predicting the future. It's learning that you can handle uncertain when it arrives. That means leaving some questions unanswered. Not because they don't matter, but because you don't need an answer right now. At first, that discomfort may get louder. That's normal. You're teaching your brain that uncertainty. And then something interesting happens. You don't get certainty, you get evidence. Evidence that you can feel uncertain. Real confidence isn't knowing what will happen. It's knowing that whatever happens, you can respond when the moment comes. The next time your mind asks, "But what if?" you don't have to solve it. You can simply notice the question, and every time you do that, you're practicing a different response. And over time, the old alarm doesn't need to be obeyed quite so quickly. The goal isn't to never worry again. It's to stop letting the possibility of worry decide what you do next. Because when you stop spending all your attention preparing for what might happen, you finally have more attention for what's actually happening. And this doesn't mean becoming careless. You can plan, you can prepare, you can care deeply. The difference is whether you're doing it from wisdom or... A useful question is simple. Am I solving a real problem or trying to make a feeling disappear? That question can... Because sometimes the problem isn't the situation. It's the urge to immediately fix how you feel about the situation.
You can feel uncertain and still send the message. You can feel nervous and still walk into the room. You can feel uncomfortable.
The goal was never to control every outcome. It was to trust yourself enough to face the outcome when it arrives.
You may never feel completely certain, but you can become someone who no longer needs certainty to move forward. And pause. What do you keep trying to control? Tell me in the comment. Because the next time you feel that urge to check, fix, or prepare just a little more, you'll know what to look for.
The moment you notice the pattern is the moment you get a choice.
Your mind will always ask for certainty. You get to decide whether you answer with control or with trust. So the next time your mind demands certainty, remember, you don't need to know what's coming. You need to know that